Šibenik,
Mangualde,
i Sal,
Trebinje,
Plasencia,
Soldus,
Alba Iulia,
Mantova.
Saint-Quentin.
You're listening to the URBACT Residents of the Future podcast, the network of 9 small cities united in a shared mission to stand against urban shrinkage. Every week we take you across Europe to meet another city in the Residents of the Future network, exploring its challenges, the causes and impact of depopulation, and the bold ways communities are fighting back. Your guide on this journey is the project's lead expert, Tiago Ferreira. So, Tiago, where are we travelling today?
Hello and welcome to the Residents of the Future podcast. I am Tiago Ferreira, lead expert of this URBACT project. With each conversation, we explore how small and medium-sized cities across Europe are experiencing urban shrinkage and how people are finding new ways to build a positive future together. Today, we are in Alba Iulia, Romania. Known as the other capital for its symbolic role in the country's history, Alba Iulia is a place where the past and the future meet, with its impressive citadel, strong cultural identity, and a community full of ambition and creativity. To guide us through the city's story, I'm very happy to welcome Tudor from Alba Iulia City Office. Tudor, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much, Tiago,
Tudor,
for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So let's talk about knowing your connection with Alba Iulia. So Tudor, what is your connection? Did you born in Alba Iulia? Did you move to Alba Iulia? So currently, I know you are working very actively in Alba Iulia, but what is your connection?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I grew up here, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Alba Iulia is my hometown. I've studied here until university. Then I left to another city called Cluj in Romania. And after university studies, I left to Brussels to work in the European Parliament. Having worked there for 4 years, and then I decided to return to my hometown. Don't ask me why, it was just how I felt, and I just followed my heart to return home at the time. And I've been around since 2012, when I returned from Belgium in Alba Iulia, working in the municipality of Alba Iulia in the Department of International Relations, Partnerships and Urban Innovation, where I'm working with my colleagues implementing various EU projects. So Alba Iulia is my hometown, is a small, medium-sized city in Romania. It's a great city with a nice history, an important history, is where Romania was formed more than 100 years ago. Has a continuous history of 2,000 years. It's a very symbolic place. It's a place that has reinvented itself with the help of EU funds. We have this beautiful fortress, like you mentioned, that
really beautiful.
Brought a new image to the city. And we are now a touristic city. We were not a touristic city when I was a child. Nobody knew about Alba Iulia as a touristic destination. But now we are also a touristic city. So people, more than 100,000 each year, come here to visit the fortress, to stay around, to visit museums, to enjoy nature, and so on. So I think it's a great city where you can live. I also have a family. I have 2 kids, and I think it's one of the best places in Romania to have a family, to have a career, and to contribute to the city development.
Okay, Tudor, Joe, let's remember your childhood. What is your best memory of being raised in Alba Iulia? Is there something that you remember especially that it was you felt that it was a lucky thing to have in your life, a lucky experience?
I think I was very lucky in my childhood. It might seem strange, but I will say something. I had a lot of free time, and that free time was not occupied by technology, which I think today it's a major issue for children, including mine. So I could go outside and play for hours, and my parents were not concerned about this. There was much less cars on the roads than is today. And we had that opportunity to really play outside with other children and to enjoy time together. either, I don't know, playing with a ball or just hide and seek or whatever we did. We had a very fun childhood, which enabled our creativity to sparkle in in our mind. And I think this is something that the children today don't have anymore. I don't see children playing in the street anymore. Maybe they
Yeah.
do in some parks, but is much at a much lower level than it was when we were a child. We were children, Tiago.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very common to have this kind of feedback. Of course, now probably the cities should change to allow the same experience of playing in the streets. Well, decades ago it was different. So, Tudor, you mentioned that you had an experience of living abroad. So you went to Brussels, you work in the EU context, and I guess it create new experiences in your personal life and professional life. So when you came back to Alba Iulia, did this experience in Brussels change the way that you saw the city of Alba Iulia?
Yes, I have to admit, I did see a different city when I came back. It was already changing dramatically in the way the EU funds were accessed and used. First of all was the fortress, which was a forbidden city when I was a child, so you could only go one way in the fortress. You couldn't really explore it because it was an army base, so right in the heart of the city. And that was a dramatic change that I saw when I returned from Belgium. So it was a more human city, if you want, at the time. So things have changed considerably. And then yes, I could see how Europe had shaped my city, because without European funds and without the European cohesion policies and interventions, these things could not have been possible. The amount of funding that was invested in the city was 50 times the yearly budget for investments. So clearly,
Very impressive.
I could see, yes, coming from Brussels, that on the ground things were really happening. It's not just theory, it's not just policy making that sits in a drawer, but it's actually concrete measures that improve the image of a city and ultimately improve the quality of life of citizens.
Yeah, so
That's why the
when you
city,
came back, you saw this difference of this
yes,
new dynamic that city gained. Actually, Alba Iulia is now famous in the EU context as a great case study of the good use of the EU funds, but also the ability of having your team, in this case, to attract these funds. Could you shortly share with our listeners how the city is organized to attract these EU funds?
well, it all started long ago, actually, long even before I was in the city hall. I think around the year 2000, things started moving with the establishment of a first department of EU projects. It was actually pre-accession funds, the SAPARD and FARES programs that were accessible to Romania and Bulgaria until 2007. So my colleagues back then had worked on those programs. Of course, they were projects on a smaller amount, but they were the first establishment of the EU projects for the municipality. And this contributed to the experience that was necessary later on for accessing other grants coming from the EU. And this, as you rightfully say, was thanks to the hard work of some people that really worked on accessing these projects since the early years 2000. Now, of course, when I came in 2012, together with other people, young people in the municipality, we formed another compartment of international relations, which also contributed to further accessing EU projects. Right now, we have two departments in the municipality that work on accessing EU projects for local development. So this initial experience, I think, was fundamental because It brought also political support, which is very important to implement EU projects. And then it brought the expertise, the much needed in-house expertise uh, to implement and to develop such projects. And I have to say, sadly, that not every city in Romania, or maybe even in other countries, realize this, that you actually need capacity, human capacity to be able to access EU funds and opportunities to develop locally.
You're listening to Residents of the Future podcast, where people come first and cities thrive together.
Do you know why the ability to fund projects is such a decisive factor for smaller cities? Because even the best strategies mean little if they cannot be implemented. Funding is the bridge between vision and reality. For small cities, securing resources is often the hardest part. This is why European funds and other support programs like URBACT can make such a difference, turning plans on paper into actions on the ground. But behind the money, it is about building the skills and the partnerships to design, apply, and manage projects. Cities that develop their capacity shows that they are not just imagining their future, they are actively building it.
Having in mind these two departments, how many people are we talking about that are working with in the city office in these topics?
Well, I don't have the exact number, but I would say around 45 people work on EU
45.
projects or in relation to EU projects. And then,
Very
of course, we have
impressive.
the other departments. Yes, I think it's an impressive number,
It's
even
very impressive, actually, for
in
the size of the
Romanian.
city. Yeah,
Yes,
not only
yes.
the Romanian, I think, to in the Europe context. And it's not what I see in Alba Iulia and in your team is that it's not just the number. The number is very impressive, but you have a team that is very experienced. So you started 2 decades ago, more than 2 decades ago, and so you and your colleagues, we see that you are very experienced in a EU project. So managing, attracting grants. So it's a human capital that it's making the difference. So it's a very good practice that we can highlight in this episode.
Yeah, that's correct. Well, if you think of it, for any EU project, you need different kind of experience. So you need at least 5, 6, if not 7 people working on just one project. And thinking of all the programs directly from Brussels, from the Commission, or through the regional operational programs and so on, you need actually teams of people with different experience, legal, financial accountants, project managers, and so on, communicators, to be able to implement effectively these projects. And another aspect is that you need to form these people, because when I came in 2012, I didn't have any experience in EU projects. My experience was on EU policy making. I had no idea about EU projects whatsoever. But of course, in time, I became active in few EU projects and also other colleagues, and we grew together as a team of people and of experts, like you say. So this, I think, experience takes time. It's very important for municipalities to acknowledge this. You need time to form a team. You cannot have a team of experts in 1 year. You need several years, and you need to bring young people as a human capital, as a resource, in order
Yeah.
to really develop some good projects for a city.
So I guess this strong connection that you have now in programs like URBACT allow you entering in this network Residents of the Future to face one of the city challenges, that is the urban shrinkage, the population. Can you tell a little bit what is the reality of Alba Iulia related to the urban shrinkage?
Yes, thank you for the challenging question. And as you rightfully said, this is an important topic for Alba Iulia, the brain drain phenomenon, which in real terms means young people leaving to study in other cities and not returning, or young people leaving the country and not returning to the city. And this causes population decline. The age groups of the city become unbalanced, with more seniors among the population than young people, which is not normal for the sustainability for the future of the city. Now, we have to say that Alba Iulia is one of the only cities in Romania which grew in population. But indeed, over the past 10 years, indeed, there is this phenomenon of brain drain. So we have two big cities, Cluj and Sibiu, which are just one is 70 kilometers, one is 100 kilometers away. And young people go there, and because they offer bigger opportunities for work, for example, but even for studies, they tend not to come back. That is a problem that we dealt with. And I can say even a lot of my colleagues did not return to Alba Iulia
Yeah.
for the same reasons. So they find more opportunities in bigger cities, more leisure events, and so on. Now,
So
please.
with this experience of participating in Residents of the Future, what were the nicest ideas that you tested with the testing actions, with the work with the ULG? So what do you want to highlight that you did to stop this brain drain, urban shrinkage? So what can you highlight and share with our listeners?
So, a Residents of the Future project offers us a real opportunity in this regard to address this topic and to start a ULG group that is working actively in this area. So, we created, of course, a local action group, and we started doing events with young people in order to better understand their needs, their challenges, and how they view the city and the direction it should take. And we've organized several events at local level, from public cafes to workshops to meetings, some informal meetings, in order to best understand what is going on in the life of young people, and how a municipality should address their challenges, because it's very important also to listen to the young generation and listen to their needs and how do they see their future actually, and how you can address those needs in order to meet their expectation. Because at the end of the day, if young people grow in your city, grow up, and then they leave to another city, they will be the gain of that city or country in some cases. So we organized as I said, various workshops, various co-working groups. We will have a hackathon this year, the first one, and also we've organized recently an Open City Days event where we had 10,000 participants in the fortress with the Guinness World Record event called The Table That Unites Us. And we had the opportunity with this event to involve young people and volunteers, over 100 young people, to work for this event that took place in September. It was a huge dinner table, if you want, in the fortress, so within the fortress walls. So events like this give the opportunity of young people to really stand up and get involved, and to feel that they bring a concrete contribution to something that is outstanding. Why? Because Guinness World Record, we know it's not easy to obtain. So they really saw their efforts being rewarded, right? Being an event that was officially recognized by the Guinness Book. And then it was such well mainstreamed, over 10,000 people. The only event that was similar was in Lisbon. It took place 20 years ago. So it was one of the most landmarking events in this area that took place in the city, and not only in the city but also at European level. So yes, we're trying to organize events that are in the area of the youth. Also, we are we've applied successfully, and we will be Romania's youth capital in 2026.
Next year.
next year,
It was a
which is
great news.
it was an amazing news for us because it will offer the opportunity again to highlight Alba Iulia as a city of youth, a city where the youth can identify themselves with, and a city they can love, and that is really looking upon the youth needs and involvement in the city life eventually, because that
Yeah.
is what we want.
All right.
We are the residents of the future, shaping tomorrow's cities today.
Tudor, let's talk about the future. So you during these 2 years, you have been created the final product of this action plan network, that is the integrated action plan. So thinking about the future projects, future investments, what is in your IAP that really inspires you to the possibility that new idea, new project implemented would change for better the city of Alba Iulia?
So indeed, the result of an URBACT project is the integrated action plan, which is not a document that we should keep in a drawer and just say that we have it. It's actually a vision of the city of Alba Iulia, how we foresee the future should look like, based, of course, on the actions that we will implement after the project. So. Of course, the volunteering group that we will create, and the NGO that we will have finalized soon in the youth area will have a critical importance in this regard, because through this NGO there will be many opportunities and many events organized within next year, 2026, the Youth Capital event, but also after this period. So we will count on the NGO, the youth NGO, that the municipality will also support, to continue the activities at the city level. And then, of course, there'll be other activities organized in partnership with the various institutions, universities, other NGOs at local level, together to continue on this progress of involving youth in various events. I can tell you a further project that we are aiming for is to build a science and technology museum. That would be one of the first in Romania. There is one similar in Bucharest, but we want to aim higher than that. We want to make something similar to Nemo Science in Amsterdam, or the Dutch Museum in Munich, or the Museum of Science in Valencia. We want to have such a museum where young people of all ages can come and learn about STEMs education, learn how to co-work with other young people, and to implement various activities that will develop their knowledge, develop their imagination and skills. So such a project, this will be a hard project, of course. It will cost around 4 or 5 million euros that we are trying to attract now. But such a project, I think, will have also a dramatic, considerable support for putting Alba Iulia on the landmark of cities that are focused on youth development. Because at the end of the day, Tiago, if I can say so, in many Romanian cities, we can see the EU footprint. So there are many investments made for the public good: mobility, energy efficiency, retrofitting buildings to reduce consumption, and so on. But we have also to include measures that address the social side, the cultural side, and referring especially to the youth, because then the quality of life will be improved considerably, and young people will not be tempted to leave to other countries where this social side, besides the economic aspect, but the social side is much more developed. So I think this is something that is lacking in many Romanian cities. You can go to many bigger Romanian cities than Alba Iulia, and you can see they're economically very developed. They have a good infrastructure, But when you look around and you see a neighborhood and you say, hey, what do they have for children, for young people? Where can they go? Where can they do this and that? You will notice there's not so much investment in this regard. So I'm not blaming anyone. Maybe sometimes there was a lack of vision. So this we're trying to do in Alba Iulia to co-create this group of volunteers active in many events that are taking place locally, but then also with the infrastructure behind, in building a city that is for youth, a city that is for children. And I think in this way we will be able to counterbalance the phenomenon of brain drain and depopulation of a city. And of course, Alba Iulia is our city. We're trying to help our city grow as much as possible, not only in administrative or economic terms, but also in social terms.
Yeah,
So
that's very
would be our
important
vision.
for the quality of life.
We are the residents of the future, shaping tomorrow's cities today.
So, Tudor, we are finishing our episode. To our listeners that are probably from cities like Alba Iulia, so do you have a final message to them, for the ones that are living or working in cities that face similar challenges? What is your recommendation, your key learning? What is your final message for our listeners?
Well, I don't want to take too much more of your time, your listeners' time, but I think all cities provide opportunities and challenges at the same time. I've had the occasion to visit many bigger cities: Paris, London, Amsterdam. Everywhere there are various challenges and opportunities. What is important is where we are indeed is to try to bring a contribution. So through our work is to bring an added value that could contribute not only to our well-being, our personal well-being, but also to our neighborhood well-being, to our street well-being.
Tudor, thank you so much for sharing Alba Iulia's story with us. To our listeners, Alba Iulia shows that a city with such deep historical roots can also reinvent itself, finding new ways to grow, adapt, and inspiring through the creativity and determination of its people, especially dedicated to the youth. We wish Alba Iulia every success as it puts its integrated action plan into action, and we look forward to seeing how these ideas will bring fresh opportunities to the community. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us. If you'd like to hear more inspiring stories like this one, follow Residents of the Future on Spotify, LinkedIn, and the URBACT website. Until next time, let's keep believing that every city, no matter its size, can shape a brighter future. Thank you so much.